Thank you for welcome, and I want to welcome all of you for from Inbox Consulting, and I want to welcome Rajesh, who is our expert guest today, and we will be discussing about the topic which is very important at this stage because this topic is very important. And why it is important? Because we are discussing about information security today. And as far as information security is concerned, which will be a very important aspect post-COVID. Why? Why post-COVID? Why was it not so important before? It was important before. Previously, it was very important because we are in the digital world. Post-COVID, everything is going online. It is much more important now post-COVID because this virus, which caused a pandemic throughout the world, killing loads and loads of people, it is because it's very infectious. It can go ahead and uh, gives it goes out. It is so infectious that even touch can infect you. So social distancing, or rather, if we say physical distancing, is gonna be the norm for next 2 years minimum. And this is the expert is saying that this COVID, or rather coronavirus, will be there with us for at least 2 years. They will be with us. Now, I would like to invite, or rather request Rajesh to go ahead and let us know what all changes we can expect from this pandemic situation, which will lead, which is very important in aspect with this information security. Rajesh, it's yours, the stage.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, guys. I hope you are doing well, and please maintain safe distance and follow all the protocols for keeping you safe. So yes, the COVID-19 pandemic is the headlines for the last few months now, which has forced many of the organizations to work from home, which again is a concept very new to India because lots of people were working within the organization. So during this period, we are we are telling people to follow social distancing, hand washing, sanitizing, and remote working. So this is something new which we will have to embrace and we'll have to take it forward. Uh, so not only the physical health issues are posed by COVID-19, but this also is giving a rise to cyber criminals who are getting very much active during this period. So there are obvious reasons for them why are they getting active. In the past, the work environment was only secured to a particular organization in which there were multiple levels of security built in the office. But now with the new environment, the work has come down to the home of the individual. So this leaves our home systems very vulnerable, and it can lead to many of the frauds, right? So you must have seen that they are launching COVID-19 theme attacks in form of phishing emails, which would contain the malicious attachments which will drop null or disrupt systems or steal data. Ultimate aim of the fraudsters or the cyber criminals is to take hold of the data, use it to their advantage, and ultimately make money out of it. Right? So you have to be careful. The organizations have to be careful on how they are dealing with this particular pandemic. Right? So briefly, I would say what are the risks what are the risks of a remote working? Right? So we have many employees who are working from home, and there are lots of students, right, who are working virtually. With the help of course, VPN, we have uh, we have different platforms like a Zoom or a Cisco platform. Now, again, what are the security aspects which needs to be taken care? In case of any unpreparedness by the organization or by, say, by companies like Zoom or anything else, it could lead to a loss of data. Again, we have seen many instances in which we have seen that uh, there are news of data getting leaked from multiple sources. The underlying VPN application, they would have some flaws in it, which would cause the data to leak out. So again, the companies who are giving this platform and who are working on the VPN needs to make sure that all the platforms that are used are particularly very well uh, uh, checked with, and whatever vulnerabilities are there with respect to those systems need to be fixed on a very fixed basis. Just to give an example, it's been seen that there's a significant spike in attacks on educational websites. As you know, there are millions of students who are joining through the classes through this pandemic. Uh, Also, the number of DDoS attacks have been increased threefold in the last 3 months. So it tells you that cyber criminals are very, very active at this moment. So you have to be careful of what kind of data you are clicking, or what kind of mails are you responding to. So you have to be careful during this particular period of pandemic. Uh, uh, any questions, or should I continue?
You can continue because when the question first you finish what you have to say, then obviously
Okay,
we have a few people who are already online with us now. They will ask you
sure.
questions.
Okay, okay, great. So, what kind of scrutiny, or what kind of uh, care the organizations should take? So, one of the care what the organization should take is that advise not to use the personal laptop for official work. Now, we have heard this comment quite a lot, but during this period of time, it becomes very, very important that all official work needs to be carried out with official laptops or official desktops only. Also, there are lots of IT vendors who are catering to banking and financial services and the FSI sector, which is seeing a large increase of cybersecurity professionals during this particular period. As companies continue to remote work, or the model of remote working, uh, and this again, believe me, it will stay for a longer period of time, with more companies uh, thinking it as an option, a viable option to go ahead with the work from home culture, so that the the dependencies on the brick and mortar offices will go down. Again, that makes more sense for these organizations, because they are what do you say, the capex and the opex cost for them will go down drastically, and also it would ensure that the kind of work which will get done will be much more of quality, because it would again form a very fine balance between work and home. So believe me, the work from home culture is not going to go down very fast. Uh, in terms of the cybersecurity professional, how should they confront this particular risks? So again, because of this pandemic, because of this current situation, the role or the job of a cybersecurity professional has become tenfold difficult, and it's also become uh, pretty important that he takes care of, or the particular job takes care of the remote workforce. Okay, so we as a professional, that we need to ensure that the end users are very well aware of all the risks of working from home. So we would again make sure that they undergo lots of training during this period to understand the importance of data and the data what they handle. Also, the IT security professionals need to have or need to keep an eye on the medium and long term impact of this particular pandemic, that it may become a norm for lots of employees, and again they should be aligning their resources in that particular manner.
Okay, Rajesh, can I ask you a question over here?
Sure.
Now, the question which I have for you is that for, this particular, because of this pandemic, these cybersecurity professionals can handle lot of, threats that is we can expect. Now there are companies, because these hiring cybersecurity team, or maintaining a team of cybersecurity professionals, it is basically a very cumbersome and expensive job for a lot of companies. Now, because of this importance of online platform and online things, there are a lot of companies who doesn't have that you know bandwidth to spend on cyber security. How do you advise those type of companies who doesn't have that bandwidth but really require cyber security people, or advice from a cyber security people how to maintain their network, because network will be the vital point for any hacker to attack?
See, it's a good question. So again, it's a question of something like with how it's ease of business with compared to whether you want to you know whether you want to be in the business at a small time or you want to be in the business for a long time. So again, it comes down. So if you don't have any of your normal features of cybersecurity or minimum requirement of cybersecurity, very it, uh, I may say that very well. Anyways, then you will go out of business. So yes, so whenever you are starting with a small company or small job, it's advised that you at least build the basics of the cybersecurity during the initial phases. Uh, Lots of companies, what they do is the cybersecurity comes to them at a later part or later stage of any of the development or application. So that is something wrong, because if you include all the uh, cybersecurity aspects during the initial phases, it's just like your business as usual. It will not take much of your time and much of your resources. So whenever you say it is very or that cybersecurity resources are very costly affair, it does become costly when you get it after what you have done. If you have all those inbuilt controls before any of the process starts, it is not an expensive affair.
All right, thank you very much. Any question you anybody else have? Anybody, guys?
No, no, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so fair enough, not a problem. Other people will ask questions if at all they have any during the course of our discussion. Now, my question to you is that as information security becoming a very important aspect, how do you guide, or what will be your advice to the upcoming cybersecurity or information security professionals? How to handle the challenges that they are going to face when they, start working?
See again, when you say challenges, this pandemic is a challenge, right? And we are seeing that people rising up to it. So again, during this period of time, what you can do is you can, of course, increase your knowledge in terms of cybersecurity. You can always get in touch with the online courses to to improve your basic skills and ensure that whenever this pandemic ends, might be in a month or 2 or 6 months, you are market ready. Just to give you an example, I've seen I've seen and heard multiple news that the cyber security professionals are in high demand at this moment compared to any other professionals, because all the companies see, they knew about the importance about the cyber security, but they're getting geared up, or they're sort of they're sort of risen to the challenge that yes, cybersecurity professionals are very important, and due credit and due credit should be given to those. And that's why, if you see, the demands for cybersecurity professional is very high at this moment compared to any other professionals.
Thank you. Can you give me or give us an idea of what are the tools, a generic tools? I'm not asking about any specific tools, are generic tools that can be used to avoid, hackers, to, ward off the hackers. The hackers should be put at bay. Is there any tools which the companies can look into, or any generic things which can at least safeguard the network of the companies? I'm talking about
Uh,
basically over here, my, mini small companies who doesn't have bandwidth like big companies. Big companies, they have their own separate budget for information security, or that particular team who will look after, like banks. They are big players. Banks are 100%, they have to secure their network, 100% security. It is very difficult for hackers, but does hackers do not attack the banks? Yes, they do attack the banks. We might never know that if from every bank 1 rupee, if the hacker can withdraw 1 rupee from each and every bank account, how much of money that person is going to get, you can imagine. So those are banks. Banks are basically, they can afford, they can afford, not they have to afford, because they are dealing with money. Information security or cyber security is important over there. But I'm talking about small companies who are dealing with small businesses, but very important data is for them. They have customer data, a database, which can, if it goes out, then it can hamper the reputation of that particular company.
See again, the best solution is a very common solution, and it's usually a common sense, right? I know that's something very obvious, but apart from that, as I told you earlier, whenever a particular company comes into existence, or whenever they start with a new process, there is a tool called as an application security checklist, right? So again, if you adhere to that particular checklist, which again is not very hard, it is not a resource crunch, it is not expensive. If you follow that application security checklist, it would list down all the particular points or all the particular processes that needs to be taken care before you make any application live, or before you have the database secured. Now, these things are these things are
Name,
very easy to.
Rajesh, can you repeat the name of that application? We are unable to hear.
It's not an application. It's like a checklist.
Okay.
Okay, which again is if you go through a professional, it might they might charge you might be in thousands, and that is in rupees.
Mhm.
But again, that's a very basic tool or basic checklist, which if people adhere to, your applications will remain safe. See, it's very easy for let's say, for the cyber criminal to hack a system which is not safe, but very difficult to hack a system which is, which has taken proper care during the inception phase or the initial phases. Then you do have your regular checks done on that application. You do have regular checks done on the employees who are developing that particular application. So there are a few things which are not expensive, which can be done as a routine, which would ensure that your data is safe. See, not all companies, as you rightly said, can afford state-of-the-art cybersecurity tools. But lots of time, common sense also is required when we are dealing with data. Just for an example, if you have a very important file in your system, it can always be password protected, right? It does not require you to buy any tool for that. So simple things like this can achieve a lot.
Okay.
And sorry, and just to add, there are quite a few solutions which are available on the cloud now, which many of the companies are taking advantage of, because over there uh, we are getting customized solutions
Mm-hmm.
with uh, uh, customized solutions with the risk, or you can say with how do you say that, with the proper security. The security level again will depend on the particular company. If they want an A security or a Z security, it depends again on how they want the security of it. But then there are lots of cloud-based solutions in the market.
Okay. So my next question to you, Rajesh. Due to the normal of work from home, the surface risk are surpassing the deep risk. Okay. For small and medium companies, it requires continuous tackling of its people, process, and technology. But they may not have, may not be having a dedicated infosec manager. It is often spoken that hiring a third-party infosec company to assess the risk and conduct VAPT are very expensive. Okay. Now, it is a myth. Is it a myth or a reality? What do you think?
See, again, it's not. Okay, I would like to answer this question in another way. It's like, do you want the business to continue or you want to go kaboom, right? So there are a few things which you have to take care of, which are a regular activity which needs to be conducted. See, the surface or the risk surface area, it changes from time to time, and it's pretty dynamic at the moment. Say 10 or 15 years ago, we didn't know that we would be having a Zoom call on a mobile, right? So forget about 10 years, maybe 2 years also, we would have thought about having a Zoom call on a mobile. But now, going forward, it will become the norm. This is the new risk surface area that we are talking about. So the risk surface area changes on a day-to-day basis, which requires a day-to-day surveillance of it. So when you say VAPT is expensive, it's again a call to be taken by the organization on whether they want the data to be safe, or they want, or they don't want, basically. So it's up to them. But again, lots of companies are moving to moving to a scenario in which the information security would be a part of their ongoing processes. As IT is a part of the ongoing process, they would be taking information security also a part of, of the services. Again, as I told you, this is a need of the hour. So you have to go. It's better to go. It's better to be sorry. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, that is true. I agree. It is better to be safe than sorry. So post-COVID for small and medium enterprises, so they will be, they have to take a, they have to look into it. The second question which I have is that, first of all, I asked you whether is it a myth or the quality or a reality. What would be the way forward for small and medium enterprises? What will be the way forward? What do you think at the current scenario, at present, post COVID?
Okay. I think so. When you say the VA and PT, it might, it would come into, how do you say, uh, it would become again as a part of your normal day-to-day activity, which would again reduce the cost on the longer run. So, um, so the again, there's it will not harm the medium or small enterprises to at least invest, say, a 5 or 10% of the budget to the information security, because it shows that just putting 5 to 10% of the budget would save you 50 or 60% if that particular company is hacked. So again, the mathematics and the budgeting needs to be done by the MSME, by the companies, but it's always good to have that budget for information security.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, what is your thought, Rajesh? What is your thought on controlling BYOD for small enterprises? Are there any tools available for controlling the device without compromising the employee's privacy from their personal files in the device?
Yeah, so that again is a very good question. Yes, so BYOD would be something happening on a larger scale, again, which is happening at the moment. And you do have tools which would create a containerized app, okay, a containerized app which would separate the data, your personal data with the official data.
Mhm.
There are tools in the market which would ensure that the data which you are viewing on the mobile will not be able to copy paste on anything on your own device. Okay, so you have your own device out here, you have a mobile, a mail from a company comes to you, you cannot take a screenshot of that particular mail. You cannot copy paste anything from that mail to your personal device. So yes, so that devices or the capability of the devices is there. We have solutions for that particular for your BYOD devices also.
Yeah, BYOD, which is bring your own device. So yeah, because people are getting, more tech savvy. They're having a lot of, devices, whether it is Android version or iOS version, or you just name it. There are a lot of devices are in the market, which can be very vulnerable at different stages.
Yes. See again, when you say vulnerability of the devices, again, it's not in the hands of the companies, right? What kind of devices you are getting, what kind of devices you would be putting the company data into. So that's where your containerized apps comes into picture. You know that whatever kind of OS is there, at least the company data is safe. But
Mhm.
again, as a as a base rule, at least only how would I say that? No jailbroken devices should be used, and the company should avoid getting data or giving data on jailbroken devices.
That's a good point. You have brought it up. Jailbroken devices. Now, how a company can identify, because in India, jailbroken devices are everywhere. We know that. That's a fact. We
Uh,
cannot deny this.
yeah,
Okay.
again, there are software uh, which uh, which tells you what if the device which is coming into that particular network, whether it's jailbroken or it is having a lower version of Android. So that is possible using the software
Hmm.
to know it's a jail device. But again, it is the organization's uh, what do you say, a policy or procedure which will ensure that the device needs to be taken or not taken. So it again depends on the organization. So this application which I'm talking about, it would take care of, or it would tell whether that particular device is jailbroken or not.
Okay. Great. Just tell me, Rajesh, in a small or medium enterprise setup, is it okay to have an IT team to implement and control infosec? And will it be against the maker or checker norm? What is your advice on this?
Okay, so there are two questions. One, the first one I'll answer later. Second one is maker checker. See, maker checker is a very good concept. If, as you said, if the IT is making a particular process or is making a particular application, the IT cannot be the checker, right? So that is a giveaway. So we have to have a separate team. See, the team can be a quality check team, or it can be some other team who would be unbiased and would give the proper view whenever an IT is doing any change in the process or application or whatever. Coming to the first question, whether the IT team can handle the information security job. See, again, it depends. It's always good to have an information security team in your uh, in the company, as it would give a very unbiased view of what changes are being done to that process, technology, or people. So it's always good to have. But then, if you see, there are lots of companies who they do not have information security team. Also, there are few norms. There are few things which which are ensuring that there is a separate information security team. And I have a feeling that below down the line, say might be 3 or 4 years down the line, it would be more or less a standard setup of the company having an IT team along with the information security team. So it's better to start ahead of the of the queue, or be the one to lead.
Now, if you are telling me that to start ahead, to have it, think yourself as an entrepreneur. You have a small
Yeah.
company, which enterprise,
Yes.
with as a small enterprise you have of your own. What will you do at that point of time?
Um, Again, see, thankfully I'm not an entrepreneur, so but only thing I
Who
would like
knows,
to say that
Rajesh? Who knows? You cannot say that you are not at this point of time. It is true, but tomorrow you cannot guarantee that you don't. I never thought I will be.
that's true. That's true. That's absolutely true. But then I would suggest that whenever you are starting, yeah, starting something as an application or process, it's always better to go or seek advice from professionals. Uh, if you're able to afford them on a regular basis, you might work with consultants, but getting that proper piece of advice during that time and proper things to do at that point in time is very important, rather than repent on it on later. So yes, you might be spending a few extra money during the initial phase, but it would help you out in the long run. So again, it's very simple. Uh, Penny wise, pound foolish. So you be at the start of it, you start any process or technology or any application, take help from professionals. If not full time, might be you can have higher consultants for that period of time. And again, as I told you, it has to be continuous activity. It cannot be one-off activity, because technology is technology is changing at a very rapid pace.
Exactly. You have told me. You have told me the right thing. Right now, what I want to know from you is that now, since there is a huge awareness, okay, there is a huge awareness about information security. A trend is noticed nowadays. It's a trend that several small and medium enterprises are aspiring to be ISO 27001 compliant. What would be your guidance for such companies?
Um, See, ISO 27001 standard is a very good standard to follow. Okay, because it gives a credibility to your organization, and if you see, there are lots of organizations. You can say at least the company which I used to work before. It uh, There were mandates given by the hiring company that our company VFS should be compliant to ISO 27001, right? So again, it would give you a lot of credibility during this period of time. So I would say that um, 27001 is a good certificate to go, because it takes care of all your information security needs and the processes which needs to be put in place. Again, on how you implement it depends. We do have lots of full-time uh, professionals who can do it, or if you want to do it with consultants, that same can be achieved with the consultants also.
Okay. Got your point. Not a problem, because this ISO, I remember, I know you as not a lot of people don't know who are currently listening, that I know you for a long time, and
Yeah.
being I know you how you work. When it comes to ISO 27001, I was also involved myself, but I never
Yes.
interacted directly like now I'm interacting with you. That is why I asked this question to you, because this is a very valid question, which I thought that current trend, as I told you, the current trend, and this is the reason why I've chose this topic to discuss on, that information security, which is an important aspect in today's world. Even if we look at February or last year, 2019, September, October, we never thought information security will be so fast and so will become so important, isn't it? Now it is
Yes.
this is something, this team or these professionals are something, they are well sought after people. They
Yes.
are well sought after people, and they are the experts, and they are now going around the companies, giving consultants, guiding the companies, putting their expertise in place, and helping the companies to recover from any sort of threat they can expect. Because
Yes.
in today's world, threat is something which cannot be justified. Threat can come from any aspect, any field, any corner. Who knows?
That's true.
So uh, now, can you just tell me one thing, Rajesh? It's been
Yeah.
really, I'm enjoying talking to you at this point of time, because this is something which I love to do. Now, can you provide a key takeaway about identifying threat landscape, you know, threat landscape in a small and medium companies, above the, above the last question, the question which I have asked you before, that awareness about information security. Now, can you give us a key takeaway in the landscape, threat landscape?
Uh, Again, see, the threat landscape is changing. When I started this topic, I was telling that the threat landscape was very limited to the organization. Now it has come out, right? It's come out because of this pandemic. It's coming out of the organization. It is coming to your home, right? So the threat landscape is changing very dynamically, and the organizations should understand this and try to incorporate the the security aspects on which they are doing on the organization. Ideally, something should flow back for the work from home people also. So there are lots of things which the organization can do, and I'm sure that they will be doing it.
Okay, so that is fine, not a problem. And so threat landscape is ever changing. So
Yes, and it surely, believe me, it is going to change. Uh, we never knew that we will be sitting, say, after 2 months or 3 months just having a chat on this, because it's changed dramatically in the last 2 3 months. And again, I know it's been told quite a lot these days. This is the new way of working. There are companies like TCS in which they have already announced that 25% of the staff will be permanently working from home. So this drastic change could not have happened because it's apart from that, it could not have happened if
right,
COVID-19 was
right,
not there. But then companies are seeing the changes. There will be more changes to this particular after this COVID-19 goes away, and as you always say, changes are always good in lots of ways.
No, no,
So
changes
ideally,
are
what
always good, but this, what I believe personally, what I believe, Rajesh, the
yeah,
changes is happening very fast. Why this is so? We were in the field of 4G connection network, because when it is comes to network, the speed of internet connection matters at the end of the day.
yes.
Previously, we had 4G. Now, government is planning and testing the 5G network, which is much faster. When it becomes much faster, you can very well imagine how fast it is going to be, the threat level that is going to change on a day-to-day basis. What is your view on that?
Uh, yes, that is something which we have to deal with it. Uh, Again, at this moment, we are what we are witnessing is an information overload, right? There are lots of information flowing, uh, left, right, center. We don't know where our information is going, and anything which has a digital imprint, digital printing on it, will will be available with multiple source of people. So again, what you give out during this period of time is something which you need to take care. Uh, Common advice is always that don't share your personal details, your banking details, uh, your private details to anyone, uh, not until it's genuinely required. So keep those common things in mind. Limited data should be shared. Unwanted data should not be shared. So again, it's all self-care. It's all how much data you want to get exposed to or you want to expose. It's again basic things you need to take care. See, the the landscape is going to change. The changes will hit you very hard. We'll have to live with it. So it depends on how you share your data with any of those organizations or people.
So you as a, what we can expect, that you as a IT security or information security professional for a long time now, if I'm correct, 15 plus years at this point of time, if I am correct. So you will be available for us 24/7, because that will be the threat level we can expect in future, isn't it?
See, there were. This is where I would like to. I would like to. What do you say? Not agree with you. I have a very simple example, right? So it's like you have a very secured house. Okay, you have the top of the line alarm systems. You have an anti theft, anti robbery door installed,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens if the owner leaves the key of your house on the door and leaves? How? So what I'm trying to tell you is that we as a professional would ensure that you have the best of the security solutions, you have the best of anti-robbery devices, will give you everything. But if the end user leaves the key of, of his own home outside the door, it is something which the information security professionals cannot help. It's
So
I'm telling again, it's
in that case, sorry to interrupt, then in that case,
yeah,
what can be done is that we have to have more webinars where we have to teach the end users, to bring in more, awareness. End user awareness is very important, and that will help and make or help the companies secure their network. So all the companies you might be advising them to educate the end users about the implications of the information security and its threats.
so, the companies which I have worked and I'm working, the emphasis is very much on user awareness. There are lots of awareness mailers, lots of videos which go on a regular basis to the end users, and it shows an impact basically, right? So yes, see again, we can take the user training from a level A to level B, but if the user is really careless, it's something which cannot be avoided. That is something uh, that's the culture which should be ingrained in you, which should happen from the time you grow up. So that is something which we need to learn.
Thank you. Thank you for your
We can,
insight.
yeah, we can always give them lots of user trainings, lots of information security related trainings. Then have courses for them which are which are refreshed year on year, or might be on a 6 monthly basis. The organizations do this kind of stuff all the time with the staff, which
Mhm.
is always a very good thing. And again, believe me, people are going to invest more on awareness going forward. You see the banks, which they always send out SMSs, they send out mailers to you that do not share your PIN, do not share your password to anyone. Right? So those kind of awareness goes to the end users also on a very regular basis. But then again, you see lots of cases in which you know that the end user have given out the passwords. They have kept up a really simple password like password at the rate 123. That is something which how many times also we teach end users, it will be difficult to imbibe that.
Actually, we cannot, Rajesh, this type of passwords, what you just talked about, just informed us about this password at 123. We cannot, blame the end users, because we have to give them a proper awareness that why this type of password can become a threat, why it is important to have a strong password, why it is important to have, password which needs to be complicated. This is very simple, but awareness is very important.
See, that's what I was trying to tell you, that security culture should be developed. If you see lots of people or lots of young kids or young children, they're coming up with that security culture because uh, in the past we were never so conscious about the passwords, or we were never so conscious about the security aspect of it. But of late, because of the rapid digitalization of the environment, it is becoming very compulsory and very noticeable that we should be aware of those security aspects. And I think so. The younger generation knows about it, and they are going to take it up.
Okay,
It's a problem with the older generation.
that's fine. Absolutely, that is absolutely fine. Now, Rajesh, thank you very much for your time. It's been
Sure.
nice talking to you for last like 50 to 55 minutes. And
Yes.
you see, time flies so fast. It is so difficult. We never thought of it. You know.
Yes. And I'm sorry if I would have fumbled or something, because this is my first ever talk, and thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity.
No, it's our pleasure, because this is something this is, I won't say this is our first of the webinars. Actually, we have our webinars lined up. Uh, the webinars that we have done so far was on, for younger generation to learn about their salary slip. Now, I thought to take some topic which is of a bigger importance in the society, because there is something which I want to do for the society is give, transfer or inform about what all changes the society can expect in the coming days, in the coming months. Thank you very much for your time, Rajesh. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And our next webinar that is coming up, that is on 23rd, that is on, the topic will be that importance of, hotel management. This hotel management, there are a lot of people, a lot of students are there who are studying hotel management. What is their future post COVID?
Okay.
That will be our topic of discussion.
Just to add to that point, in the morning I read a news in which they will be placing mannequins in hotel, to give company. So uh, again, so you never know what they might come up with.
Yep. That's why we will we will basically do these things, this type of webinars, and there are a lot of webinars lined up. So next is
Sure.
on 23rd coming up.
Okay. Again, if you require me next time, I'll be more than happy to oblige.
I will, don't worry, my friend. We'll come up with another topic where you will be featured again. This
Okay,
is
great. Thanks
this
a lot
is
once.
this is like a weekly episodes that's gonna come out from our company,
Sure.
Inbox Consulting.
Great.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay.
Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot
much
once
for your
again.
time. You take care
Okay.
and bye bye.
Bye.
You too.